Hey ladies, this is Linda FaceChick777 and today I am coming at you with my album that Jules asked me to create. I was one of the lucky 4 ladies chosen to create a album with her new Accucut die cut set that she designed, and it's the Cameo mini album, and there will be a link down below so that you can get right to her blog, the Jule box, and you can take a look at this Cameo die cut set and order one for yourself. So I'm going to bring the album out. Thank you, Jules, for allowing me to design one of these albums. I really had a lot of fun. So I'm going to remove my sign, get the album out, and we're going to get going. Okay, here we go. Oops. Here we are, ladies. Here is a look at my album. Now, I actually was a little intimidated by this album because I decided to stray from my usual colors of browns, and I wanted to go with black and white or black and cream and a little touch of red. And you wouldn't think that would be difficult, but you know, a lot of my papers that I usually buy are vintagey looking, so they have a little bit of a brown shade to them. So it was a little bit difficult, a little bit intimidating to stray away from my normal colors, but I've always wanted a black and white album. So I had to go through a lot of paper stacks to get all the papers that I wanted. Most of the stacks, except for 2, are die cuts with a view, and it's the Bella Armoire stack, the La Creme stack, the Lemon Flower stack, the Black Currant stack, the Immortal Love stack, and then the Recollection stack I used was Union Square, and then I used a paper pack that I had by Creative Imaginations, and it's the Narratives line by Karen Russell. So, now there's no laughing at my album, ladies, because it's a little bit thick. You know, I knew it was going to be lumpy in creating this, but then when I started putting it together, I didn't realize how lumpy it was. So the little 2-inch rings that Jules sent along with the Cameo kit, a little small. So I'm just going to quickly turn to the side and give you a peek. This is a little over 6 inches thick, ladies. Can you believe it? But I couldn't stop. I just got to decorating and it was so pretty. So, you know, that's how it goes. So I'm going to unload my clip here first. I'll give you just a quick look at it. This is a clip that I designed. I got the idea from Scrapinology. Now, I was just going to make a real pretty just chain closure with some charms hanging from it, but I was watching one of Scrapinology's videos, and she showed this design using the 7 Gypsies clips. These aren't 7 Gypsies. These I got from Goodwill, and they already have like this little circle loop in it, so I used these and kind of designed it after her idea, and I really just love it. I think it just adds to the elegance of the album. So I'm going to go ahead and unclip it. I've got a lot of light on this album, ladies, so that you can see it, so I'll have to maybe twist and turn it to get away from the glare. So the cover, all the pages, it's got this scallop-based design for the main pages. And all the pages I took just black cardstock, and I distressed all the edges, and then I glimmer misted it. So that's the base on all the pages. Then the rest of the stuff on the pages is just paper. I used lace, I used fabric, you name it, I used it. All the paper and stuff, I distressed the edges and used my sewing machine to just kind of add that touch to it. So on the front of this, the die cut set came with 2 sets of this kind of 3-layer cameo effect. It had kind of this back scallop piece, a large oval in the center, and then this lady. So what I've done with the back piece is let me bring it in just a little bit further for you so you could see it. I crackled the edges, and then I used a French script stamp by Stampin' Up. It's a retired stamp, but I used that stamp plus Stays On ink to stamp over the crackle image. You wouldn't want to use any other ink, ladies, because it would just smear. Okay, so that's what that effect is. And then the back piece, let me kind of try and move the lace out of the way. All I did was just shimmer the back piece, black paint and shimmer. You can see it here now. And then I added lace over the top. And then the lady, that was a little bit of a creative decisioning. I would call it a mistake, but no, there are no mistakes in scrapbooking, ladies, only creative decisions. So one of my ladies creatively got set aside because she's no longer usable. But this one I went ahead and used. I had crackled her. I didn't like it, tried to kind of clean it up a little bit, re-crackle it, you know, and the mistake kind of got these rolled edges on it, but it looks kind of, you know, rustic and distressed, so I went ahead and left it on this one, but this is kind of a twice over crackle effect, so that's my creative decision for that. And then on her, I used I Am Roses, a flower from Michael's The Wedding section in some pearl trim. And I'm going to bring this back out. Oops, back out just a little bit. Now the roses I used are these wooden roses that I picked up at an antique craft mall. Everything, lady, all the shimmer on these are Lindy Stamp Gang. So that's what the shimmer you're seeing on the roses. And what I did, it's a full rose, ladies, but I cut the roses in half so that they would lay flat on the front of the album. Okay, and then on that I took this gross grain ribbon and I stamped using the same stamp as over here, and then I used my sewing machine and made a straight stitch using the widest stitch length all the way through it. And then when you're done, you pull on one of the threads and it'll gather it up and make it all crinkly looking like this. So I gathered that it was about probably 24 inches length of ribbon, and gathered, you know, pulled on the string and gathered it up into this crinkly look and glued it to the album. Then I added just like a lace bow over the top, and then a little charm here, and then a key from Michael's. And then over in this corner, there's a little chipboard scroll. I believe that's from Recollections. All the pages are bound with the wide eyelets you can also get from the Jule box. And then the outer edge I had to, since it was so thick, I had to bind it with some sheer ribbon. But that's okay because I think it makes it look really pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to lay this down just a little bit. And so you can kind of get a bird's eye view of the next two pages right here. So there's that view. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it up and show you the first page. Okay, oh, let me move something out of the way here. There we go. So the first page, all the pictures I used, I downloaded from the internet. I printed onto transparency. I didn't put any personal photos in this album because I wanted it to look really vintagey. So onto transparency, and then a lot of them I sewed onto this real glittery die-cuts with a view paper here. So I layered the back with papers from all those stacks I mentioned, a little bit of just really pretty lacy fabric here, and then I made like a faux pocket here. Let me move this out of the way here. Here we go. I stamped it with a stamp from La Blanche line called the Invitation to Mira. And then on the side here, I laid one of the tatted doilies. I had my friend make. She made me a bunch of tatted doilies I'm going to use throughout this album. This is a mold of the actual Recollections window, and it came with some photo corners. I made a mold of it and then used clay and made my own, just so I could have some more of these in my stash. Then I used a key that's a charm from Walmart, and then some I Am Roses flowers. Then over to the other side. Okay, I've got some lace and stuff going on here. This is a paper heart. It's from this heart-shaped paper pad. It's like the journal notebook from Creative Imaginations. And I ripped it out and I left the tattered rip on the edge because I just thought it added some great texture. A clay charm that I made. I made all the clay things throughout here. I'll just call them charms that I made. So a clay charm through here. And then I just layered some lace. This is like a crochet lace. This is a lace from Walmart. And then this is like a pearl lace. And over the top of that, this is from K & Company. It was a package of edge trim that I added there just to kind of cover the ribbon from this pearl trim right here. And then one of my homemade flowers. okay, with the tatted doily here, a flower and a key charm. And then right over here is the smaller cameos that come in the set, and I crackled all these little mini cameos here. So all these you'll see are all crackled. So there's that. And then we'll go on to the next few couple of pages, bring the camera in a little bit. So these are the next 2 pages. Okay, I'll bring this one up. Now this is the only one, ladies, that I actually made a pocket. All the rest look like pockets, but they're not. It's all glued down. So here's this. Now this is, like I said, the transparencies, and I sewed it onto that glittery die cuts with a view paper from one of the paper pads. So that's why you're seeing all the glitter. So I don't know why she's the only one with a pocket, or that comes out of a pocket, but that's just how it came out. So again, layered some papers, clay charm, and then the pocket I made, this is fabric I picked up from Walmart. It's a real pretty black and white rose print, so I just sewed that on. Here's 2 kinds of laces here. This is from Walmart, and this one through the center is from Joann's. This is from a paper, or not a paper pack, a package of journaling cards. And sorry, ladies, the name escapes me right here, the brand, but I used a few of these different designs of note cards throughout the album. Couple of pearls, and then some I Am Rose's flowers. This is a little cameo clay charm I did. And behind here, ladies, besides this trim, you'll see this through the album as well. This is... the kit that Jules sent me came with these flowers, little die cut flowers, and I didn't want to just use it as a flower. I was trying to do something different with it, and I was kind of flipping it over back and forth and realized that this, if I cut, it had like a little leaf on it, and if I cut the leaf off, it almost looked like a scalloped heart. So that's what I've done throughout the album. I have cut the leaf off, all the flowers, and then I painted and crackled it and did like layering behind a lot of stuff. And you'll be able to see that later on some other pages a little bit better. But a lot of it you may just see kind of a little scalloped edge peeking out around it. So just for some added dimension. So this is included in her Jules Cameo kit. So then over to this side, again, some layering, a little clay charm in the corner here. This is a poem. It's one of my favorite poems. It's actually, you know, written in English, of course. It's called I Carry Your Heart by E.E. Cummings. But I wanted to include it in the album, but I wanted it in a French script. So what I did is I found the poem online. I copied it, I pasted it onto a website that could translate it into French for me, and then after it got translated in French, I copied and pasted it in one of my computer programs and changed the font. So that's what this is here. This is a beautiful lady on transparency. I just layered over the top. Then down here on the bottom is a couple of real pretty crocheted cream and black laces. This is another little clay charm I made. A tatted doily, one of the small crackled cameos. This is a saw crafter's flower, and then a little satin bow, and then a little bauble here on the end. Okay, and then we'll go on to the next couple of pages. Right here, I'll get you a little view of it there. So, and I'll bring this up. Now this, ladies, as you can see behind this transparency, it's a stamp I used. It's a music note stamp. So what I did is layered paper on the end. You can kind of see it peeking out here. Then I layered some fabric on top. This is a red toile fabric. Okay, and then this little section here from the doily up, this is a paper doily I got from Dollar Tree. I stamped with the music note stamp right in the center of it, okay? And then I laid on top of that some of this real sheer fabric. And then on top of that, I laid the transparency, and then I sewed that whole bundle like together and then glued it down on top of the fabric and the paper on this page. So that's how I got that effect of the kind of the music notes behind the beautiful vintage lady. And then on the bottom of it, I've got a couple of laces layered here. This again is that crinkle ribbon like on the front, same exact thing. I used a different script stamp on it. This is a Lay London stamp by Stampabilities. I'm going to call it Lay London because, see, it says, like right here, Lay London. So I got this off eBay by Stampabilities. So that's the stamp done on this ribbon. And I did the same effect. Did the running stitch through it and pulled it and then crinkled it up and glued it. I put a underneath that, I've got a clay embellishment I made using a stamp, the Tim Holtz backwards stamp, into a mold, so it looks like a broken piece of pottery there. It's a French script stamped. On top of that, I've got a bunch of little I Am Roses flowers, little calla lilies, some little wedding spray up here, little gems. I love crystal gems. And then a homemade flower that I made, and then a little clay heart charm. So on to this page. This page is layered with papers, again with the red toile fabric. This is a paper heart doily I actually got at Dollar Tree. Right around Valentine's Day, they had a bunch of packages of different size paper doilies in pinks, whites, and reds. So I picked up pretty much one of every color and every size. So that's where I got that. Behind this right here, behind the transparency, this is another one of those larger scalloped pieces that come in the set for the great big cameo trio. And what I did is I stamped on the front with that London stamp. Okay, and then I just layered the transparency right over the top so you kind of get that see-through image, just kind of like I did over here with the music notes and the lady. There's a clay charm on top of that. To the side, this is a tatted edging that I had my friend do. Just gives me, I just love that tatting effect because I think I just love all the little loop-de-loops. So she tatted some little edges for me. I layered like a little, this is one piece of lace. This is what it looks like, nice little soft vintagey looking lace. Then on the bottom in the corner here, this is a Rusty Pickle chipboard scroll that I crackled. Okay. Over the top of that, you could barely see it, but there's the little tatted doily. And then on top of that, I just layered I Am Roses, some stuff from Wedding Section at Michael's, little pearl trim, some more I Am Roses, little Saw Crafter's flower, and then a crackled mini cameo right here. So there is that page. I'll lay it down so we can kind of get a view of the next two pages. Right here. Okay, and then onto this side, ladies. This page, get it so we can get a good look at it and I can get a good grip on it because it's so thick. So again, just layered some you know, paper. Now this right here, I'm going to bring it up so you can kind of see that effect there. This, ladies, is actually, I bought, let me grab it really quick. I actually bought, it's by Golden's, it's this fiber paste. And when you open it up, it looks really, really thick. Get it out of the way because I didn't want it to drip on my album. It's not, it won't drip, but the dry piece is on the lid. It's really thick. And when it dries, it almost looks like homemade paper. So what I did is I spread with a like spatula on wax paper, really thin layer, really large, thin layer. And then probably about as large as like, you know, this album here, and then I let it dry for about 3 days, and I ripped it into great big pieces. And then I just used it for texture. You can see the bottom of it here, and I sewed right over it. That's how thin it is and real pliable. I just layered it on for just a little texturizing effect on the page. This again is one of those hearts out of that journal heart set I was talking about earlier, the Creative Imaginations. Layered of transparency right over the top. I just love, that's adorable picture. A couple of lace trims here. This lace, and I'm using it throughout the album, but this I got at Walmart, and it already has the bling on it. I just think it's really pretty. One of those Dollar Tree paper doilies. Over the top here again comes one of those note cards that I showed kind of at the beginning, one of the pages. So this is again another one of those little decorative little chipboard note card things. Tatted doily there. Did I say tatted doily? Oh, paper doily, note card, tatted doily. A Saw Crafter's flower, and then a little crackled mini cameo once again. Okay, and then on to the next page. Love this image because it's so sweet. I just, this wedding image is adorable. Did a little crackling, or a little, well, yes, I did do crackling, but a little layering. Now on this left side, ladies, here again, this is one of those scalloped, those flowers I was telling you about, and I just used it as like a scallop backing. So that is in the kit, one of those die cut flowers. Little tag again from those journal cards. Homemade flower I made with little bling on it. Here's a little crackled cameo, layering along, coming down with some flowers and in some crystal spray, little wedding flower, pearl flower, and then a clay charm. And then over here in the corner is another one of those Rusty Pickle scrolls. I'll bring it up and you can see that I crackled as well. Okay, and right down to the very last couple of pages, I'll kind of give you a look at it, except for the last one because it's obstructed by the pocket. Okay, so this page, love her. Look at her huge eyes. That is just adorable. So, again, with the clay charm, and then she is, you know, sewed onto some of that sparkly paper. I had this like acrylic kind of thicker transparency page in an album that I hadn't messed with yet, so I took it out and it said I'll never forget on it, and already had kind of some scroll work on it, so I use that as background. Over the transparency, this is a beautiful tatted heart. You can see it coming down through here that my friend made for me. Over the top of that, this is the next piece in one of the large cameos that come with the album. This is the oval piece, and what I did is painted it black and crackled it. Then I've got a red paper doily, and then one of my own little flowers, again, that I made with the little tatting in the center, a saw crafter's flower, hung a charm, and then over here again is one of those recollection scrolls. Okay. I'm going to turn the album this way for a minute. This is a pocket that I've made out of red fabric and toile fabric I bought at Walmart. It's magnetic. Okay, and what I did is cut fabric here and I just frayed the edges, and I added some lace behind the flap and then over the top of the flap. It's a real beautiful little lace with pearls on it. And then I made a little flower out of lace. Added a tatted doily. This is where you can really see, ladies. See, this is the flower that looks like a heart when I cut the leaf off. Now you can really get a good image of it. So I really like that. And then a cameo in the center, a clay charm I made, and then I added a little stick pin. Okay, and then off to the last page. Finally to the last page. I'll give you a look at it. I think it's just gorgeous. It's the images that make this album gorgeous, ladies. I couldn't get enough of these images. So layering, paper doily through here. Over the top of that is just some vintage music sheet I got at our local scrapbook store. Okay, this is a Rusty Pickles scroll that I have crackled. Image over the top, over the top of the doily, and you can see some of, like through here, you can see some of the design of the doily kind of coming through. This is a crocheted heart doily I got at Goodwill. On top of the heart doily, this is a smaller of the scroll cameo backing that come with the album kit. You know, you got the scroll and then the oval and then the cameo lady herself. So this is a smaller, and I just stamped on it with that French stamp script again. I layered a rose on top of that, and again, I'll turn it to the side. You can see cut in half, so it would lay flat, and a little tulle bow, and then a clay charm cameo that I made. And then down at the bottom, I've got some really pretty crystal trim hanging down at the bottom. Okay, and then as I closed the album, all I did is I took some of the paper, designer paper, did a little sewing to stress the edges just to give it a little something on the back of the album itself. So, ladies, there it is. There is my cameo album. Thank you, Jules, for having me, choosing me to make this album. I had a lot of fun with it. I really adore it. I adore you. I thank you so much for this chance to design for you. And ladies, thanks for sharing your time with me. Remember, Jules' link is down at the bottom of the page, so go check out her blog. She's got a lot of stuff in there I think you're going to like, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably buy this cameo album kit. But again, thanks, ladies, for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.